TI finals where they matched up against each other, and it was a clean 3-0 for Team Spirit. Gaimin Gladiators really could not stand up to the power of Team Spirit, and their recent finals against each other in the one-win series also did not go the way of Gaimin Gladiators. It went to Team Spirit. So maybe it's not a finals, Avery, but it is a big tournament they're already at. And I think Gaimin Gladiators, they had something to prove when they closed out the series last night, and I think they have even more to prove in this matchup.
Yeah, this would put them back to even, and that is a much better place to be for them than in the hole here, especially doing it against some of the top seeds in the group. But as you said, Spirit have traditionally had their number, and I think it goes back to the bend, don't break philosophy of this team. They're willing to give you the tempo, they're willing to give you the early Roshans, even let you go high ground. But as long as Team Spirit get that one fight, you know, in that 25 to 30 minute mark, that's all they need to just swing that entire game their way, and then they believe in Yatoro to carry the rest. So this is another very similar setup to that. Gaimin have all the tempo in the world. They have the push, they have the auras, they have the Chen Underlord, an Ace Underlord that is perhaps the best in the world. It's going to be a race against the clock, because I do not think you want to go late here if you're Gaimin. I think Slark with Alacrity, Ion Shell Surge behind him is an absolute menace this game against a 3-4-5 that can lack damage as this game progresses. Like, you're looking at a Rubik Chen support duo. The downside of the support duo is the damage output in those later team fights. So you really have to be careful about how much you give Team Spirit here, especially around the Roshan pit, and how fast can you get Ace online. If I'm looking at Team Spirit's lineup, the one hero that can slow all of this down for me is that Invoker. We've seen this Quaswex Invoker really stall out the tower pushes, be a menace around the map, be very strong in the turnaround in terms of the reactionary counter ganks. I'm looking to Laurel this game, and I mean, Team Spirit feels like they look to him again and again when they need these games to get slowed down just a bit for their other two cores to get online.
A lot of lane pulling shenanigans, but Mira might pay the price for it as he lets Dyrachyo get too close. And Dyrachyo is going to keep this battle going as he puts damage on to Collapse. Now, he might die for this one, but I almost feel like it's an exchange that's worth it because he thinks Celery's going to be able to outman fight Collapse, but he will not. Collapse gets the double kill.
The facet bonus attack speed here is going to get the deny on the neutrals as well. That mana burn creep was doing a lot of work for them on this lane, and I think if they just play that slower, they win that overall exchange, especially over time.
Sure.
You can even end up in a scenario where Ursa just farms under the tower and the Chen just deletes the mana from the Darkseer. You're pretty happy with that, but that is a big turnaround for Spirit. A lot of experience going into this Darkseer, which is exactly what they want. Keep the lanes pushed out, slow this game down, and it's going to empower the Nyx. The stronger this Darkseer is, the more Mira can maybe get Ion Shelled level 3 or 5 and TP to another lane.
Yep.
Have to think about those moves as well if you're Gaimin in this game.
So lane's already off to a bit of a wonky start here for Gaimin Gladiators. Not quite what they wanted out of the situation. If in this story you're talking about how Team Spirit rely on Laurel to be able to slow down the game when they need it, means this matchup has got to be particularly important, right? Laurel versus Quinn, who Quinn has shown to be able to dominate some of these mid matchups, but Laurel is definitely no slouch in the mid lane. We'll see if who gets the advantage out of this. Right now, Laurel's doing very well for himself. 14-4, has the extra denies coming out.
I think once upon a time, Puck would have won this matchup harder, but nowadays, Universal Invoker versus Puck with a lower base damage, it's not actually that fun on these early waves for Quinn, and not really going to get better, especially if you can land the EMP here from Laurel. That would be a huge boon. Probably not reliable enough, but even if you can just keep your resources up, keep that TP off cooldown, it's going to make Quinn's moves hard as you go into this mid game. And Gaimin really need the Puck to set up a lot of their kill threat. Another dive coming out.
Yeah, with Mira, that was a kill. Mira just a little bit off the mark there in some of the damage. And as a result, takes a bit of tower aggro and gets just about as low as Dyrachyo is going to be.
Spirit are still okay with this. I mean, you're putting pressure on the Ursa, which is going to open up space for the Darkseer on the backside. And I mean, Mind Flayer has really changed this matchup. I don't think Nyx would have ever gotten through some of these early games versus the Enchantress and the Chen as well as he has.
Yeah, no way.
I think it's one of those things you read in the patch notes, you don't really think about it until you see it in these competitive matches, but it really is slowing Celery's lane presence down, getting you some extra gold, freeing up some space for Collapse to jump rope to his heart's content.
Yep, he's got boots, so boots plus windlace. He recognizes how important movement speed is in this matchup, particularly since he didn't take the other facet. Took the attack speed one for the better farming and potentially the extra damage that he got out like he did in that double kill situation. And Dyrachyo keeps on trying to threaten. This is just, I feel like this is just classic Dyrachyo. Putting more emphasis on trying to shut down the enemy laner, even though he's a carry.
Would really like some extra kills on this lane. I just don't think it's going to happen unless Team Spirit want to man up in some exchange. Especially you can just keep zapping these creeps down. Biggest thing for Gaimin this game is going to be when they make that rotation top. I think that is the go-to for them. You're either going to bring Celery through the gate, or you're going to bring Celery through the gate plus the puck on a TP top if the lane's in a good place, and just try and dive this Slark. This might be the biggest point in the early game for both teams, because if you have the resources to defend that move, you're really going to kill a lot of that early game momentum. And again, you're looking towards Laurel, you're looking towards resources on the two supports here for Team Spirit, and where that lane equilibrium is top, because Ace is going to be winning that top lane. Like, this is an Underlord Rubik versus Slark. You're reducing Yatoro's base damage. He's not going to have fun in this isolated matchup.
A lot on Amira will be spared by the surge from Collapse.
Maybe the stronger collapses as well. Or you can maybe leave him alone at some point, but this is a tough lane to just play 1v2.
Yeah, seriously.
You can't really cut either because, of course, the mana burn creep.
Toss back, Maposhka gets a dive away, and Tofu looks like he wasn't able to get that final hit in to secure the kill.
Yeah, but look at the CS on this lane, right? You're doubling the Slark up, which is exactly what you want in these Underlord versus melee hero matchups. Sure, this matchup's gonna really be miserable later on, but for all the early game, Ace is gonna be absolutely free farming up here. And this Fade Bolt Atrophy Aura combination is no joke versus these carries. I mean, Slark can bypass it at least with some stack building, but still sad in these early exchanges. Still, I'm looking towards the dive top. This is a catapult that died for them, unfortunately, but is a flag bearer wave. Could be looking to make this move soon if you're Celery, already level 4.
Yeah, I mean, we do have level 6s on the mids. Obviously, more important for the puck, so still waiting to see where Quinn's going to make that rotation. He has a haste rune as well. Big power rune to operate off of, and the mid matchup is not going that well for him. He is heavily down in denies against Laurel,
which Elitist adds up.
Maposhka not even going to be able to get a chance to get the dive off, so the power rune does get used just to be able to help get a support kill. Nothing major out of that. Collapse gets chased out of the jungle once again.
Deny that wisdom rune steal, which is what Mapochka was looking at.
Right.
Maybe even he was just fronting that power rune so it doesn't go onto the Slark here.
Yeah, it could be.
I think Yatoro's very happy to get solo XP without dying anytime he can.
Yeah, and he's right on the cusp right now. He's level 5.5. Feels like one of the scariest parts of any Slark game, just before you hit 6.
I mean, if you're going to make this gate rotation as Gaimin, you got to make it soon.
Yeah, they're going to miss out on that timing if they don't do it now.
Maybe this threat of the dive bottom is forcing Celery to stay down here, but again, the game progression for Gaimin would really be to attack this Slark and attack his tower right now. I mean, we can see Quinn, they're thinking about it, but this lane is up really far. The Chen's getting forced to stay bottom.
Yeah, 8-minute power runes coming up. They're not going to hit that timing. So, Rodan, aka Yatoro, likely to get level 6 unimpeded. 8-minute power rune, though, it's going to be bottom. So they stick around for power rune. Don't get it. It's an illusion for Laurel.
Is that actually out of range of that sentry? That is very close.
Sad if that's the case.
No, it is.
No, it is.
You just couldn't man up the hill.
Yeah.
All right, maybe get it later. But in the meantime, give some XP to Tofu here. Look for the puck rotation onto one of these side lanes.
Well, sneaking around. Celery should see that Ghost Walk debuff on the creep. Knows that the enemy bid is looking for a kill.
Gotta look for these urn charges somewhere.
Yeah, that's what he wants. He's not finding it initially.
Still, this kind of static early game, I think, is okay for Spirit, right? There's no aggressive action happening on the towers, nothing they have to react to right now. And here's going to be the first move from the puck. No power rune to make it with, but instantly popped.
Yeah, runs right into Nyx Assassin, can't even catch him. Didn't even have his boots in, collapse, goes for a TP away, off of breaking that smoke from Mira.
Very heads
They
up.
both get out.
All right, Team Spirit are dodging a lot of this early game, it feels like. And they're getting their Slark through that lane phase. Yatoro already level 7 now. He's cruising. Think about Radiance here. I don't know if he's going to commit for that, but would be a very obnoxious item for Gaimin to play up against. Very slow item.
So he would probably go Radiance and then break it apart for Heaven's Halberd, I assume, against an Ursa?
I mean, you're not going to break it for a long time, right? This is like an old school Slark build-up.
So, like, okay, so if he doesn't do that build, then he does the Butterfly plus Nullifier.
Yeah, that's more likely, but again, in a game like this where you feel like your towers are going to be under pressure, I don't know if he's going to commit for this. I'd be surprised if he does. Maybe just thinking about, you know, he's probably pinging it for someone else to build it. Okay.
Yeah.
Olaf, what do you think about Radiance Darkseer?
Radiance Darkseer.
I mean, it is a very good Radiance game. Just having the anti-aura, the mischance against everybody in the fight, burn down some of the summons.
I mean, it's faster lane shove as well, which you know Gaimin Gladiators is going to be balled up. Radon getting a little bit low. Has to pop his ultimate here. The Phoenix just dies to the Quinn rotation pretty quickly, and Spirit rapidly retreat out of here. Dota2 even coming through the gate just to add in that helping hand.
So there's that gate move. Eventually they make it able to kick the Slark out. Don't get the Slark kill, but get what they came for here, which is that tier 1. Very tough tower for Spirit to defend. And they don't really get a trade elsewhere because Dota2, he's just able to sit bottom. Getting a lot of solo time, able to defend the tower. Very efficient move from Gaimin. They did not give up a lot of farm on the map to do it. Didn't end up costing them too much either in terms of Chen creeps or any sort of momentum here. This is going to be a very early Roshan from Gaimin. Everything points to it here. Yeah. Just how many levels the Ursa's getting, the early auras that are going to be up on Ace because he had absolute free farm. If you can get some ancient stacks going here, Ursa's just going to clear through him. He's going to be well ahead of this Slark going into that mid game.
Do you want to try and do it while it's still on Radiant side to keep that cycle?
I think you could do either in this game. Depends what's more natural. I almost feel like a lot of these games, it's more natural to do that Dire side.
Yeah, it's more natural to play on the Dire side. But then later on in the game, Dota2 is going to have to fight it out. He can't really just run away from Mira, and he makes the right read. Takes the fight against Mira, gets the kill. Now in mid lane to get a coil out. Tofu, he's got Sunstrike. See if the snap is going to go off. Laurel doesn't snap the coil. Nobody holding in place, so they don't quite commit for the kill. Wall's actually going to be dropped here. Quinn up here on the high ground, has to jump away before he's caught by some extra damage. Sunstrike is on the mark, but he's going to get a regen, and he has a Fairy Fire and a wand, so he'll be okay. He'll be healed back up to full, and it's Miposhka who will end up losing his life. Everybody getting threatened, nobody quite dying until Miposhka shows up at the end and instantly gets griefed. And Dota2 being active, runs into Mira again here. Every single Gaimin Gladiators move to a tower, they have brought their carry along with them, despite the fact he does not even have his battle fury.
I think these are fights Spirit could take, but they're very disjointed, maybe not expecting the numbers. Still, I mean, this is Gaimin in their element. Swarming the towers, backstabbing, getting initiations. Maybe you don't commit for the kill, but you're able to draw out the fight long enough that you get the objective you came for. This is just powering everybody up with the extra tower gold, 4K gold lead. Early Atos for Ace as well. A little more offensive firepower. Feels like he doesn't need a super early Piper mech in this game. Maybe the fight's just not going to come to them on these Roshans or anything like that.
Radiant's bottom tower
and these Sunstrikes a little too short on the damage. One more Exor point, you maybe get that Ursa and that Puck.
Dire's top tower is under
another coil. Not even needed in this case. Mira just cannot do anything. I mean, you said like talking about how Nyx Assassin naturally forces people to clump up. Gaimin Gladiators want to be able to 5-man. I just don't even know what you do as the Nyx in this game outside of the laning phase where he was killing Chen creeps. You know,
there isn't really anything you can do. You can try and cut waves, kill some Chen creeps, maybe get deep wards or steal a Wisdom Rune, but when the 5-man push comes, you're absolutely useless. And here's that 5-man gate for Wisdom Rune.
Yeah, they're going to take the Wisdom Rune. Mira, no, Mira. It's not worth it, man.
Oof, man, these Team Spirit supports are suffering right now.
They just don't even know what to do. They send 4 people back through the gate, leave the Ursa so he can farm up some of those Ancients. He actually TPs mid afterward to push that lane out. At least Maposhka is able to steal the opposing Wisdom Runes. So,
I mean, any XP you can get in this game on the supports is huge. And Gaimin, they're just going to continue to barrel through these towers. Don't even need Roshan to do it. Just not enough firepower in this Spirit lineup unless you're willing to bring all 5. Work it done for the Invoker. Maybe that signals inability to contest these objectives. Yeah, they're going to take the chance. Bring everybody for this.
A hard fight for it, but they're trying to use the Orchid to get the pick off on the Ursa, but a Hurricane pushes them a little bit farther. The heals come out from the Chen, and Duraccio is perfectly fine.
Wildekin save lives.
They do. That's twice now that Celery's made a big play with that Wildekin. And that was the real deal of the Orchid, which does not pay out. Team Spirit still trying to play for a team fight here. The Gaimin Gladiators, they've taken the tower. Now they start retreating. Vacuum back, another Orchid. But again, the Ursa getting healed up heavily. So most of the damage not really sticking to him. 8-2, 6,000 net worth lead now for Gaimin Gladiators.
I mean, the spellcasting honestly wasn't bad there from Team Spirit, but there's just a decent amount of sustain at this point. And unable to get that kind of surprise Orchid kill on the Ursa. This will buy some time for that Radiance. Does get committed here.
It's almost done. It's just the Invoker is such a pick-off-oriented hero early on, right? With the urn build-up and everything. He has no more urn charges. The Nyx Assassin, very single target and pick-off-oriented. And the Slark isn't going to give you that much team fight for quite some time. Not until he at least has Ags plus Radiance. Take a look at one of the many deaths of Mira. Oh, more than one apparently. We're going to watch many deaths of Mira.
Not a fun Nyx game. It's just, like, who are you even trying to interact with outside the puck? There's nothing really for you. You can maybe get a Yules in this game, be a little annoying for the Ursa, but we have seen Spirit go back this hero again and again. This is one of the tougher games for it, for sure. Now you're going to race towards these BKBs. If you're Gaimin, that Radiance will come online. Honestly, a decent time here.
Smoke breaks on to a vendetta up Nyx Assassin. Do not have the detection for the reveal there.
And I mean, if you're looking at Team Spirit on the map, they are very deep. They're getting a courier kill with the Phoenix. Collapse is farming all that bottom side of the map. He can cut the next wave behind the tier 2. This is pretty good positioning by them. You want some heroes deep on Gaimin's side to force them back to deal with you. Well, you don't want to lose that, but
left and neutral item behind. Ace does not seem to in order to get the Rod of Atos out, but Collapse is close. They'll get the vision of him and do manage to get the stun off thanks to Tofu with the stolen impale. So they finally catch up and clear out some of the rats trying to take the Radiant side of the map. Team Spirit lose Collapse, and the space they get for it, it's all up to Yatoro. He's got the Radiance. What can he do with it?
Yeah, this is a situation you just want to force the fight. Like, you don't have the Shard, you don't have Ags. You have a limited window in that fight to make the Radiance work for you, and I don't think it can work into the Aegis. It's just going to outlast your burn.
Yeah.
Duraccio, he has his own plans here. 18-minute little high ground push.
Yeah, Collapse cutting that wave, by the way, did not stop them from being able to take that tier 2 without the wave. And that they must have had like one creep or something. Backdoor protection went down. They just took it with the full Chen army.
That's the first life.
Yeah, they're going to take out this Aegis pretty easily, but look at that pit. Grabbing 3 with the coil on top of that one. A little vacuum back. Trying to pull them in deeper, but they do not want to dive too deep in the tier 3s. We saw Gaimin Gladiators throw a bit of their lead yesterday in their series against Falcons by going too aggressively into that high ground. Something that Duraccio talked about in the post-game interview. His own misplays in that regard. Gaimin Gladiators certainly playing a lot more discipline.
This is the sticky part of the game for Gaimin. Like, this next 10 minutes here, can you sufficiently close out the map? Can you stop Team Spirit finding farm? on these side lanes, deep on your side of the map with the jungle. You can use the gate to your advantage here and some of the catch that Quinn can offer you. But you really have to play it well, because if you're not building a gold lead here, it's not advantageous for you, as the high ground's just too difficult.
See, the Team Spirit, they do have the firepower to blow up a hero.
Did give Impale again.
Yeah.
Something to look out for. I mean, this is an incredibly good spell in this game.
I love the gem pickup here from Gaimin Gladiators. Would love it as long as they don't lose it. Team Spirit are looking to catch Gaimin Gladiators out on the map right now. 4-man smoke with the Slark nearby.
I think they were hoping you can maybe get this Ursa before the BKB was finished, but it's already done for Dyrachyo. Just so much extra objective gold going into his pocket. So that Orchid efficacy just went down a lot.
Yeah, who do you Orchid? A BKB on one, a Yule's on another, and a Guardian Greaves on a third core.
No good targets.
There is nobody you can Orchid, at least the first go-around.
Right, there's a world you can pop this Ursa with Sunstrike, Nyx combo, like back chain him. But you have to think about the Hurricane off the Wildekin. You have to think about, you know, Greaves coming through, Chen armor.
Speaking of some more auras, now you've got the Ancient Granite Golem, who's going to be trucking along with
nice
the rest of Gaimin Gladiators. So add more HP to the entirety of Gaimin Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at the aura stacking up here, right? Ice armor on people, granite aura on people, some extra regen. All this adds up in a fight, especially a fight that goes 30, 45 seconds.
And you're going to see Team Spirit do not want to have to defend high ground. They're trying to rat it out right now, but you know Gaimin Gladiators, they see these heroes out on the map. They say, okay, you're going to do that. We're going to push the high ground. We're going to force you back.
Is under attack.
And from there, it's a decision-making process of how much Gaimin Gladiators want to be able to try and take advantage of their net worth lead right now, or if they wait for another Roche.
He's alone.
He is
He has
very
gate
low.
that can get to him.
Pops out PKB, instantly goes down Dyrachyo, playing it very safe.
Yeah, that was...
Rage, BKB, TP out.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That felt like a play where he knows he has a tendency to die in those situations.
Yes.
He's like, I'm not throwing this one.
And sadly did not even get the Wisdom Rune for that little play. He can go back and take their own Tormentor, though, if he wants to get some more gold for the supports. It would not be, I would do think that a Rubik Shard would not be the worst thing in the world to help get away from some of these stuns and Sunstrike setups.
You cannot get out of these pounces with Force Staffs anymore, so it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Illusion.
How much can Yotaro stick onto targets here?
And he does almost have the Aghanim Scepter. They pop out of the jungle, hit him with the telekinesis.
Can't TP.
With the gate behind it, they're going to make sure they can swarm him after this coil. Now, Dark backs off the stun, but immediately caught inside of the pit. They have the disables. They have the damage, though, but Supernova on the side there. A little bit hard to commit, and Quinn has to jump away to his orb. Blinks back in, hits him with the silence, and it looks like Radon may be in some trouble. The Firestorm trying to burn him out. Not quite enough. Quinn can still jump forward. He hits the Yules on the Nyx Assassin instead. He'll try and take that kill for their troubles instead of the Slark, which they were so close to finally killing.
Little too slippery. Pipe comes in just at the right time from Collapse. Bails out his carry. Sunray and those spirits did a lot of damage mitigation as well. It's another Nyx death, another Impale stolen. Some more net worth lead accumulated here by Gaimin as they continue to scale in this game, and they're looking towards that next Roshan. Coming up soon, should be theirs almost guaranteed. Gem on Quinn is also just gonna make this Nyx's life even more difficult.
And the Slarks as well. Just no chance of being able to keep up vision and outmaneuver these heroes. That's what you want to be able to do right now. Spirit need to be able to get out on the map and stay one step ahead of Gaimin Gladiators, but won't be able to keep their vision down for it for very often. Roshan, potential spawn time starting in 40 seconds. It is going to delay things a decent amount, especially if it's a late Roshan. How long do you think Gaimin Gladiators can really like stall out the game and build up an advantage before it starts getting concerning?
Still a very long time here, especially if they can get a couple kills.
Especially if they can kill Radon. They won't be able to. Once again, it's going to be Mira. Mira, man, hardly get to play Dota in this game. 7 deaths, 1 assist. I have never seen Mira have a game like this, I think.
I mean, I think it was just predicated on the draft.
Oh, 100%. It's
not much you
him.
can do here. Picking Nyx into a push team with a push lineup.
Yep.
This is the outcome. Once more, your base is getting sieged. Can you get that big turnaround fight? You're trying to finish an Ags on the Slark. I don't think you want to fight without it. You need the extra damage output. It'll be completed here.
It will be completed. Gaimin Gladiators. At the same time, do you want to keep this push going? If you throw on this high ground and give Team Spirit the opportunity to take Roshan, you will seriously regret it.
Yeah, this is not the time to make this push. Feels like Toro knows
Actually,
it.
they're going for a TP away here. Full retreat from Gaimin Gladiators, which leads an opening for Radon. Can Yatoro catch anybody? Collapse and him are not fast enough. Too much vision down.
A nice disengage. You'll lose the Chen creeps, which definitely hurts. But you did not give up a bad fight into that Roche spawn. It will go dire side. I mean, that is a little bit of a saving grace here for Team Spirit if you're willing to contest it. You have a couple buybacks to commit to that sort of fight. Could be a turning point, even out this net worth gap. But not if you lose your darks here at the start. Collapse.
Massive pickoff. There goes all your team fight.
Wrong place at the wrong time.
Just misjudging how quickly Gaimin Gladiators would get back out on the map.
I mean, can you Roche right now if you're Spirit? There's no way, right?
Their lineup is not great at doing it.
I mean, you can like Alacrity Slark, but it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
And Gaimin, they don't even care about Roche. They're just going base here. Let the Underlord deal with the waves. You can gate to them. Continue to play aggressive.
It's true. I mean, once you force Team Spirit back to their base, you could always just gate to Roshan.
Yep.
Make it super efficient. Take that tier 3.
Top tower has fallen.
Pipe now done for the Underlord, so he got his Rod of Atos, made use of that by being able to catch Team Spirit, and still has all the aura items you need for a high ground push. Greaves plus. Okay, instant supernova pop.
This is working against him a bit here.
Yeah, that's very curious, because does he really value his own life, which he still dies? Does he really value his own life more than the cooldown of supernova?
It doesn't feel like it's worth more.
I don't think so either.
And that courier kill feels like the only thing Spirit have gotten here in the last 10 minutes. Gaimin continue to suffocate the map. This waning rift facet has also really helped Quinn catch some heroes.
Oh yeah, a little mini vacuum pulling people in, getting that just extra bit of distance.
It's looked solid this game.
Yeah.
And then a little two-man Roche action with a lizard buff. Yeah, it'll get scouted, but nothing you can do about it. This is going to be a high ground push here with the Aegis on Duraccio. Have to gear up for it if you're Spirit. That's probably your point to try and turn this game. Are down almost 20K. But we have seen them turn worse games around.
It's true. Team Spirit. Jenkins called them the ultimate comeback team. Let's see if they can prove that to be true in this game 1 against Gaimin Gladiators against incredible odds.
Trying to
The
think
actual odds, 2%.
Okay, well, that's a little disingenuous. I mean, I don't think you can ever give Team Spirit less than 5% at a minimum. Just lying to yourself at that point. But it's not looking too hot, because when this push comes, it's a question of how do you start the fight on your terms. I mean, you have a chance to maybe burn the Aegis.
Going for the same situation, but Gaimin Gladiators not going to let him do it twice.
There's just no good targets to go on. The tankiness of this lineup is really coming through right now. Even Octarine on the puck is going to bump him up a pretty decent amount in HP to try and chunk through here. Really need this Slark to just last a long time in the fight and build up some stacks. Throw all the buffs on him, let him start hitting the Underlord or the Chen.
And we'll see how much he can actually stick around and hit those heroes. Couple hits there, but immediately threatened by the coil. Vacuum in with looks pretty nice. The Sunray is out, but they're just all focused on this Slark. He got off his ultimate though and is able to slip away into the trees. Duraccio with his BKB is able to back out. The Impale not stunning him underneath that tier 3, so Gaimin Gladiators remain healthy after that big throw around of spells. And now with no Supernova, no Vacuum, they're going to go back in again without the BKB, but with the Aegis. Radon trying to get up those stacks you're talking about. Meanwhile, 3-man stun from Mira. Dyrachyo barely stays alive thanks to the telekinesis. Never mind, gets burned out, and you will lose that Aegis now.
Okay, I mean, that's step 1. And I don't think Gaimin can siege it without the BKB on the Ursa, so this might be a successful defense.
Yeah.
Didn't even lose anybody.
Radon sitting on 42 agility stolen, so...
That felt clunky, but got the job done. Which is the most you can hope for here if you're Team Spirit. Got their little combination with Vac Wall and a kind of a corner of that cliff with Sunray Egg going on top of it. Looked beautiful and, well, did almost nothing. Benefit of the pipe and the sustain here.
Yeah.
You're looking at a second Octarine on this Ursa, so it's going to be that Octarine Shard, Ags build-up. Just become invincible. It is a build that can... I mean, this is a matchup that can suffer versus the Slark if he can continue to build the stacks, and we did see... You know, Radon, he's able to sit in there for a decent amount of time with his ult, with Depth Shroud. You have some Radiance Evasion. Double Pounce means you can go in and out at your leisure, but you have to build up the stats at some point, and if Dyrachyo can just make that as hard for you as possible, then... There's no win to the team fight in sight.
Yeah. I do feel like Team Spirit, the team fight might start turning to their favor if they can get to BKB on the Slark, but that's still a bit of a ways away. And they will just be focusing on surviving until that point, something that Radon may not have the luxury of being able to do. He pops his ultimate, now he has a second ult to be able to TP away. They have the stun with the telekinesis. Tofu drops the telekinesis down on his head, and Radon gets picked off.
A super heads-up play with that shard lift. Very rare you get to see it used offensively here, but Tofu on point. Gaimin knew what they were doing when they gated to that gank, and this should secure at least one lane, maybe two. Do a buyback on the Slark, but
I almost wonder if Yatoro
commit it.
Like, I feel like you cannot afford to buy back just because the BKB is so important, but they're going to get decimated without their Slark because the aggression comes out from Gaimin Gladiators knowing without the Slark, they can kind of jump in those tier 4 areas and take those pickoffs if they see them.
Stolen Alacrity.
Oh, that's
yes,
nasty.
please, right here.
Yeah, Alacrity with Frenzy, that's a lot of attack speed on a bear.
Don't even need the extra attack speed here.
Yeah, seriously. Shredding through the buildings pretty quickly, tries to get a hop on Mira. Spike carapace and a brief retort, but Gaimin Gladiators, they'll win the longer argument here.
Gotta look for some massive vac combination. Land an Impale on it, or an Ice Wall, or some sort of Supernova.
Hop again. Just a bit of fishing here from Dyrachyo. Speaking of fish, Yatoro pops out. Gets 2 swipes, that's all he gets. Telekinesis, they're gonna throw Collapse closer, but Larl's the one in trouble. Dyrachyo, he might just be able to finish him off. They just need the vision, they have the coil out. The BKB is not gonna be able to save him against the just raw physical damage of Dyrachyo as he shreds the Nexus assassin. Now they pop the Supernova. Gaimin Gladiators call it quits. They say, okay, we're not killing that egg. Back out. They don't lose anybody for this. They get pickoffs, they get buybacks, and now they can keep on going back in. Radon has to be able to hop away. Telekinesis back on Collapse. They're focused on the buildings. Gaimin Gladiators, a second lane and a third on the menu here. With 4 heroes from Team Spirit, a last-ditch effort to try and get there in time. Yatoro goes in, a beautiful vacuum impale combination that hits all 5, but do they have the damage? The heals come out. They're going for the Chen right now. Radon is doing everything he can. Telekinesis tops away. Radon cannot keep his little claws on any of Gaimin Gladiators. They all slip through the fingers. Now a buyback on the Invoker is going to result in nothing as they continue to get shredded by Dyrachyo time and time again. More buybacks from Team Spirit, but the damage is done and Megas have been taken.
I mean, if you're not winning the fight off of a 5-man vac impale, you're not winning anything this game.
And Ace just goes in, he pops the gate at minimum distance just to get out some of these Necrobook minions. The Demons come out to start taking tier 4s, and Team Spirit will be forced to try and hold against Megas, plus an entirety of Gaimin Gladiators. That just seems to be too powerful for them. Maposhka trying to hit some Sun Rays, it's doing nothing. The cores in the front can't do anything, and Gaimin Glad broke down. They are not going to be able to do the same sort of run-you-over strategy that they did in Game 1, right, Avery?
No, this is a very different lineup. If anything, I feel like the roles are flipped. You might have guessed either team was playing the other's draft here, but this is a game where how much can Quinn get done on this Invoker compared to the Invoker we saw last time as Gaimin try and power up for maybe a little later on the timings? Scale a bit more, get the alacrity going, get the CK to a point where he's 4 or 5 slotted with a BKB and can maybe ignore a lot of the AoE spell damage, because there's a lot of it on Team Spirit side between the Sand King and the Underlord, and then you have a Rubik who can throw in extra on top. It's this Underlord Rubik combination that we saw last game that Gaimin played. Team Spirit will be the ones who steal it here. We'll have to lane up against that Undying, which can prove problematic. So the lanes here look pretty strong for Gaimin overall, especially with Morphling being a relatively passive carry early. That is an area where Gaimin could pull ahead again, and Team Spirit need to watch out. They want to get into this mid game and take the team fights that they're looking for.
If I remember correctly, this is twice now that Team Spirit have taken 3 runes at the very start of the game. So a little bit of bump for them. Possibly help with that laning phase management against the Undying. What do you make of Sand King mid right now?
I think it's fine. I mean, it's a hero that always can just shove the wave out, get almost free farm. You can stack for him. He can stack for himself on the large camp, trade out water runes. Pretty hard to shut him down. He's just a playmaker. His scale is still solid. Some aspects of it got nerfed with the bro strikes and the ags and all that, but the facets also not as crazy as they were on release, so that definitely hurts him probably the most. The hero still does what he does though, right? Like, he's a reliable playmaker that gives you team fight, gives you wave shove. The Stinger is still strong in terms of getting the waves out, farming jungle pretty fast. I think it's okay. I think if it gets punished really hard, you're going to be really sad because the hero's comeback just isn't that good. But if he gets out ahead, you're pretty happy.
Blood grenade thrown out, trying to play underneath the Firestorm. But now that it's gone, Celery will close in for the kill and secure first blood for Duraccio. Now, Duraccio might end up dying here as Collapse is going to try and run him down with the next Firestorm. He'll get that kill, and he'll turn some of that damage back onto Celery as well. So they may have given up first blood, but the overall lane advantage, we'll see if Collapse is able to utilize this HP advantage he has to win the lane over the longer period of time. You did not sound very enthusiastic about Sand King, and I feel like I've got a different view on this hero. I think this hero is pretty crazy underrated, and I'm glad we're finally seeing it. I feel like the facet that was broken before, it actually just overshadowed the other part that Sand King, I think, is incredibly good right now, is Stinger. I think Stinger is just this amazing ability. It does so much damage, clears out camps even faster than you already did, as Sand King can win you the lane, especially against melee matchups, which unfortunately in this situation, not what he's matched up against. Maposhka, he gets crit down. Ace gets what's required to claim the kill.
Lane phase proving pretty strong here for Gaimin as both side lanes just smacking him. Not a lot of early spell power to fight back. Okay, I can buy you're big on the Sand King, but I will respond accordingly.
Okay.
With my counter argument here.
Yeah.
It's only one word. Pipe. I rest my case, and I think everybody at home agrees.
Ah, damn, he's right.
Like, can you play a flat damage spellcaster in a meta where every game you're gonna have to go up against pipe?
I was thinking about this literally last night, and I was thinking, you know what Valve needs to do?
Keep that to yourself, Austin.
They need to just get rid of Epicenter and make Stinger his ultimate, because I feel like it's actually kind of his best ability in some ways.
Or they could just buff Epicenter.
Whoa. Wow,
that's too dangerous to say. I know Valve hates this hero, but
yeah, Valve are very spooked about making Sand King too good, or Epicenter too good.
I mean, let's be fair. Sand King has around 2 or 3 weeks every year where he's viable. That's not bad.
And then he quickly gets chucked into the trash. I'm sure Valve is like, there's a red alarm going off somewhere at Valve headquarters right now. Like, what? Sand King's being picked. Sand King's meta.
Oh, the nerfs are already prepared. I guarantee you that. It's tough. It's really tough to play these heroes that have struggle scaling into the late game against Pipe, because if you can't outscale Pipe, then it's just, what are you doing in this game? You can get to that point, you know, with like Shiva's, Bloodstone, Ags, Octarine, upgraded Blink, I don't know, whatever you want. Yeah, at a certain point, especially with level 25 talent, the hero becomes absurd. But that is a lot to get through, and you can run into trouble. The mid Saiyan King at least has some tempo advantage with the extra
Tombstone
weapons.
gonna get thrown down, collapse. He'll be run down very easily here.
That Tombstone kill. This is the struggle of the Underlord in this matchup compared to last game. Undying just has his number. Not a hero you can fight through. Unless you want to pull waves or do shenanigans. You can just play it really passive and stack for the Underlord. You can run into trouble. The mid Saiyan King at least has some tempo advantage with the extra
Tombstone
weapons.
gonna get thrown down, collapse. He'll be run down very easily here.
That Tombstone kill. This is the struggle of the Underlord in this matchup compared to last game. Undying just has his number. Not a hero you can fight through. Unless you want to pull waves or do shenanigans. You can just play it really passive and stack for the Underlord, which is a route I think Spirit could have gone, but they're trying to play the lane straight up, and it is costing them a decent amount. As
Deja vu,
Maposhka.
I've seen this situation before. Maposhka trying to out-heal the damage from Ace and Tofu, and it's not good enough this time around. Yutaro brings Ace a little bit lower, but still cannot claim a counter kill.
Yeah, even with the Alpha Wolf biting him, that Lotus keeps him alive,
Dire's
and
middle tower
Gaimin
is under attack.
striking in this laning phase. Really in these side lanes taking advantage. That mid is going the way of Laurel, and to a decent extent here, he out CS the Invoker, and he has this big stack waiting for him.
I'm not opposed to taking
Yutaro would have really liked that kill, but you'll have to settle for some more CS. This would also be a huge kill, but also a little short on the damage output here. Maybe you gotta start looking at some rotations here from Maposhka to, I mean, I would say mid, but I think Laurel is giving up trying to chip this Invoker, and there isn't that opportunity for the super early Enchantress game. We just haven't seen it a lot either. Maybe on a power rune or something, but that top is very vulnerable right now if you want to send the Enchantress through the gate or even just TP up there. Could just run this Chaos Knight down, swing that lane. Morphling is a carry you can leave alone past, you know, level 4 or
Radiant
5.
structures are fortified.
This is where I would be looking to go if I'm a Poshka right now after the 6-minute power rune.
Dire are scanning.
We'll see what crops up here. At 6 minutes. Maposhka trying to cover the bottom lane.
Oh boy.
Shield rune gets denied. Tofu. He
Have the
will
mana.
TP out successfully. No Burrow Strike on Sand King with mid build. You go 0-3-2. So that means no stuns available to stop Tofu.
Man, that's such a tough rune to get denied there for Laurel. When you're winning mid, especially with Sand King as a hero, you can always reliably push the wave in. You really want to secure those early power runes. It's a big loss for him, but they will get the bigger prize.
Don't need the Enchantress.
Yeah,
Get the job done, just the
Dire's
two of
bottom
them.
tower is under attack.
played up a little too far. Still a very quiet early game from Maposhka, but at least his team is making
Radiant's
some
middle
moves.
tower is under
Toro
attack.
doing a nice job with the waveform, dodging the clap there from Ace.
There's the TP here.
Ace use that extra movement speed from the wind form to be able to get out.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Now I should go back in. Tofu hits him with a bushwhack. And Maposhka again. This heal is just not enough, man. The burst damage between these two overwhelming the Enchantress. I do wonder if, in some ways, if he had the other facet, if he would survive. If it would have just given him just enough heal. And he took Spellbound. He took like the offensive one that allows you to be able to enchant and get extra range off of that enchant.
Has not paid off in this laning phase.
Now,
Uncharacteristically rough laning phase from Maposhka on this hero that has become one of his signatures over the last 2 years or so. Definitely hurting Team Spirit's momentum here. Gaimin able to capitalize. You're also just consistently burning out Laurel's mana on mid, so he has to TP back in after going to Fountain for the refill, which means you don't have the Sand King counter initiation on the side lanes if you're going to try and dive with a Brew Ultimate or something. Eventually, Maposhka will make the rotation top, but the lane is all the way in, so there's no gameplay there.
yeah, like what do you even do about that?
It's just an awkward point for him. I mean, now you're going to miss contest this 8-minute power rune. You're not even getting stacks up.
It will be at bottom lane, so Gaimin Gladiators happy with that. The Dawn gank from behind. Duraccio and Celery go through the gate to set it up, but it is not enough. He strength morphs. I mean, I guess they can keep
out of
diving here with
stats.
Tofu coming in with a bushwhack. Oh, he gets away for tempted TP away, but Quinn,
All
he
five.
gets brought in as well. All 5 to hunt down Yutaro.
Plus some illusions. I mean, the 7v1, I guess, is enough to bring this man down.
Seriously.
Yeah, Toro not going to be happy about that one. He's probably asking the team, like, guys, I just got
Dire's
ganked by
middle
5
tower
heroes at
is
8
under
minutes.
attack.
Where's the pressure on the map?
Yeah. And that's the second time that we've seen that in this series, right? Like, just Gaimin Gladiators heavily out-rotating Team Spirit.
It's just out execution here. I think the move was available with the Enchantress. I mean, Mapochka's kind of just been sitting up here for like a minute here. And he's just watching Collapse farm. This is the downside that a lot of people often don't talk about not shoving your offlane in, is you're not pressuring this tower, you're not forcing a support to be up here. The second you push in, you can do things like this. And now all of a sudden, Gaimin have to react to you. They can't just 5-man gank your carry.
Well, they're going to gank that carry anyway. Ignore the Undying. Go for another kill into Yatoro. They won't be able to get it, though.
I think Team Spirit need to start hitting this top tower. You cannot let Gaimin get this much out of the map right now. When you're supposed to have a pretty fast early support duo, there's a back-to-back kill on Celery.
Well, he's going to have to walk out to lane now.
And here's the tower siege, I think. Could have happened a bit sooner, but they will get there eventually with the Enchantress, and this is going to force Gaimin to react, which is what you want right now. Free up space for the Morphling and the Sand King to free farm these lanes. Vessel is done. Pretty solid timing here for Quinn, all things considered. Start to apply some decent pressure to the Morphling, especially if you can get into these open area skirmishes like we saw with the EMP burn earlier.
We did see that last game, Laurel struggled to be able to keep those earned charges, wasn't able to get the pickoffs necessary. We'll see if Quinn encounters a similar problem, because Team Spirit's lineup, it may not be as fast as Gaimin Gladiators and what they did in Game 1, but it is a lineup that wants to group up a decent amount, right?
Yeah, you still have a lot of team fight here between the Undying and the Brewmaster. You'd like to be using these Brewalties off cooldown, especially if someone's going to sit down here. Every time Yatoro shows his face bottom, Gaimin are going to run at him, because there's no way you want to let Morphling sit in this lane solo, and the numbers are coming again.
He knows Yatoro's going to wait for him somewhere. He's trying to catch him from behind, but Yatoro actually pushes forward, goes to wait for him through Quinn. Tornado goes out, but it's not good enough. Underneath the Sandstorm, they can't take that. Duraccio now has to come in with his illusions finally to go for a support kill, but he can't even get that much. Now he's pushed in too deep. The Brewmaster ultimate is not enough to save them against the 5-mana Team Spirit. He'll be able to get a kill on a support here and take the tower, but now Ace has got to run for his life, and Laurel is so damn strong. Again, the Sandstorm is just not something you want to fight into, and the Stinger does too much damage, slowing him down and getting the kill.
Huge team fight for Laurel. The exact setup he wants, right? Gaimin dive in a tower, you come in with Sand King, all of a sudden your spells just go to work, almost 3,000 damage done compared to Ace on 1,700. That was just a crazy amount of spells thrown on top of everybody here. There's a Tombstone down, there's a Gate down, there's an EMP down. Somehow Quinn lands a 5-man tornado. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. Like,
yeah,
what is this? You know, if that had something like a Cataclysm after, you'd be super happy here. But lacking a little bit of the damage if you're Gaimin, the sharp shot hits the Enchantress here, which just gets healed up. And your two big boys between the Sand King and the Underlord are really strong in this type of engagement. They're just going to go straight back into it.
Quinn, kill him again.
Man, they are getting value out of these Morphling rotations.
Yeah, they really are. Yatoro almost looking like he's taking a page out of Duraccio's book and how aggressive he's being. And they invade the triangle, take some of these stacks, which Sand King can do with ease.
Oh, this is super nice for Laurel. He is getting Omega fat off this early game. 3-0, 200 CS, stealing enemy stacks, just rushing the Bloodstone here. He is going to be a beast in these fights, extremely tanky. You don't have an insane amount of early burst damage on the side of Gaimin. You're kind of relying on these long fights with the Brewlings and the Tombstone.
Telekinesis into Burrow Strike with the EMP burnout. Tofu's dead.
Man, that damage. Cannot underestimate it.
It's almost like it's his best ability.
I mean, it for sure is. I'm not doubting that part. And he might not have to play against Pipe this game, as it's Radiance for the Brewmaster. That's maybe the biggest upside for Laurel. He's going to have a nice mid-game here.
Do you disagree with Ace's choice?
I don't think so, because you don't want to put all this, like, you can't rely on the CK to scale super hard this game, so it'd be nice if your Brew and Invoker can pick up the slack. Invoker definitely can. Brew with Radiance also can. you also didn't really want to go something like Urn here into a pipe because you had the Vessel on the Invoker, right? So your item buildup was pretty limited here if you're Ace.
Cold Snap trying to stop the aggression. Celery sitting behind Quinn, goes for the punish, but the Bloodstone is complete. Laurel.
Dude, look at the AoE on that.
Yeah, he pops that. The Sandstorm is huge, and the heal that he gets off of it, if anybody is inside, is going to be too much for Gaimin Gladiators to contest.
This is the strength of this build with this facet buildup. That Sandstorm AoE is no joke. You have to respect it in these fights, particularly around the objectives.
And the only answer they really have to it right now is that Vessel, but now Quinn is out of charges.
I mean, you're out of charges. You didn't get the Wisdom Rune. You're losing your Tier 1 towers. This early game has swung considerably for Team Spirit just on the back of the Sand King teamfight presence, and now he has an Arcane Rune to back it up. The scary part is, do you want to try and gank this guy on one of these side lanes when the gate can back him up instantly? Because again, it goes back to how much burst damage do you have. If you don't burst him down and he gets spells off with this Bloodstone, you are in massive trouble. At the same time, if you can stall out this map, it's giving Yatoro a lot of time to farm up on, in theory, is maybe the hardest scaling hero in this game, outside of some ultra late game Invoker here.
Do you think that, like, the hardest scaling carry, but do you think that Team Spirit's whole squad outscales Gaimin Gladiators?
They have a very decent shot, yeah. I mean, like, there are worlds where Invoker dances on you in the ultra late here, but some of those level 25 talents, like the level 25 on Sand King, is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Ace got his Radiance, which is going to be his farming item, and we'll see him go back for that pipe because it is still very important to get these auras, but it does mean the Gaimin Gladiators are certainly taking a longer approach.
I mean, he is still very farmed, everything considered. Oh, Stolen Phantasm for a single Rubik illusion.
Oh.
Look at that.
Doing a little scouting.
There's some high impact.
Might go farm a single Centaur. Yeah, that Sandstorm's just disgusting, man. Takes up the whole battlefield.
I mean, you can start taking some of the talents in here too as you get higher levels. Doesn't even have them online yet. As Gaimin, you're gonna spread out here, dodge Laurel on the map, continue to try and farm for their auras. Still kind of crazy as good a game as Laurel's had. Ace is right there with him.
Yeah, he's really not that far off.
And almost has level 12. Big timing for this hero. You'd love to take a fight right when you get that just peak power for this Brewmaster. Still getting every power rune on this Sand King, which is a little annoying here if you're Gaimin, but just a consequence of losing that tier 1 mid and the lane shove.
So the shoe is on the other foot. Gaimin Gladiators the one who have to try and dodge Team Spirit for the time being.
I like that Yule's pickup too. Just get a quick dispel up, get rid of the Vessel threat on one of these heroes. Can maybe even dodge some of the hoodwink damage. There's limited chain stun capability on the side of Gaimin. It's going to be a nice Yules for the long run.
Baiting out Poposhka. They have a ward for it too, and they instantly jump to Rachio as he pushes forward to try and kill the Enchantress. It's a trap, and he fell right into it. Almost still gets the kill on the Enchantress, but ultimately does get saved by a bushwhack as Yatoro puts good use. Haven't seen him play Hoodwink before, but it looks pretty good right now.
Maybe straight into Roche here. Pretty early in the game, but you're all up here. You have some extra skeleton damage from the rally, yeah. Orphan's gonna make quick work of this. Very efficient move. Oh, I mean, Stolen Alacrity, yeah, that also helps.
Yeah, that makes it even better.
Yeah, this feels like we're watching the previous game, only the sides are flipped.
Yeah, seriously. This is a couple times I've seen this combination, by the way. I always find it funny. Rubik plus Morphling on the same team. So the enemy team throws a spell at you. If that spell is good, it can get thrown back twice.
And part of it is the answer to the Undying here.
Yeah.
Do not want to give away double Tombstone or something of that nature in this game. Would be absolutely devastating for your team fight because your lineup does not deal with it well at all.
No.
So Celery needs to watch the spell casting here. Make sure he hides it. It is fairly reliable to do based on how team fights progress. But Team Spirit are going to take a commanding position here. Up 5k, controlling the map. This Sand King is still untouchable. and their cores are starting to build a lead. Quinn is just not finding the same type of game he found on that Invoker yesterday. A lot slower, none of the early ganks. This Vessel hasn't gotten a lot of value. In fact, I don't even think I've seen him use it once. So he's just gonna have to go might his bots here, play the split push game and catch up. It is something this hero can do quite easily if the push doesn't come. Which does beg the question here, if you're Team Spirit, can you be the ones forcing high ground pretty early in this game?
I surely you can with a Morphling, right? Morphling's one of the better heroes to take this kind of advantage and just say, okay, you don't have the damage to kill me, I'm just going to chop down buildings now.
I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. You get this pipe on the Underlord, you have some heals on the Enchantress where you can morph down, heal him, go back in. Alacrity helps you push as well, and then you just drop the Sandstorm behind him. That's a pretty formidable push at this 20 to 25 minute mark. Could definitely force some of Gaming back if you don't want to commit everybody. You can sit Collapse down here with the gate ready. Creeps are going to siege top. They're going to look for a gate rotation, so they're going to opt to try and catch right now instead of just force the high ground.
Top tower is under attack.
Not a bad play at all. If you can snag a big core, they're going to look for Ace.
And a ward on him, so Ace knows that the gank is coming his way, but he still gets caught by it. Laurel coming through the gate, hits him with a Burrow Strike Yules. Ace may have to use his ultimate here. They actually come in from Dyrachyo on the side with the Orchid. They're going to blow up the Underlord. Perhaps the Underlord can't really get off much. Gets off Firestorm, and that's it with a deafening blast over the top. Can they fight through this one?
How much can Laurel do?
Sand King is too strong, perhaps, as Radon has to waveform away. He's going to be okay. Laurel goes back in and try and deal with the final Brewling. Ace is able to limp away, and the HP is too much. Team Spirit just push through that team fight with just superior numbers, more net worth. And Gaimin Gladiators run out of damage. They'll be picked off one by one. Ace trying to go for a desperate TP away. It's just not going to work for him.
Man, this Yules has already paid off big time for Laurel. This item build-up, just amazing right now. He's already going to have a veil off that. He's going to be plowing into Shivas here. Most damage by far between these two offlaners. But, I mean, look at Maposhka, man. He found his point in this game. A rough early game. He was just swinging that entire team fight. Did an insane amount of damage with just this Dragonlance. Now he's level 13. Maybe he was the real victor of everybody there.
And put to use that Spellbound facet.
And the biggest thing here is you have a Tombstone that lasts the entire fight. You take the Underlord down first. This should be kind of an ideal setup for Gaimin outside of the fact that your CK illusion cliffed itself and blocked that Tombstone onto the high ground.
Yeah, that's
a little awkward. Still, this Tombstone stayed up, but it was a stolen Tombstone that's running the almost entire time as well, right?
Yep.
And that is the downside here for Gaimin. If you get that spell turned around against you, it's nasty. You have to spend a lot of your time killing it.
And isn't this just going to be a constant problem? This matchup of Sand King versus Chaos Knight, right? Like early on, he has the damage, the AoE damage to just blow up the illusions. And then even if you get to a point where you go, okay, hard, late game Chaos Knight, you can still get an Ags on the Sand King. Maybe you don't kill the illusions, but you control them. You stop that damage.
It's not a fun game for Dyrachyo at all. I mean, your best bet is to just go BKB and man up with your main hero.
And the Yules continues to find more catch as Laurel, he has the catch, and thanks to the rotations through the gate, they have the damage.
Team Spirit's starting to run away with this one.
They really are. And straight to the high ground. Yatoro wasting no time whatsoever. A pickoff near a high ground, immediately goes for it.
This time they have the Underlord with the pipe. They have the push power.
They'll take this full lane of barracks because Gaimin Gladiators will not contest. Not against the Aegis with 30 seconds left.
No way you're fighting without the Brewmaster. I mean, that's almost the Shiva's done. Insane. I think he's invincible with that. Like, I don't know what you do versus man. Butterfly for Yatoro. Is he finishing? Yeah, he's going Butterfly first. All right, just had Casual Mask.
Okay, right as the Aegis is about to expire, they go for the kill on Yatoro, and they time it perfectly. Ooh. Great shot from Tofu. Waited just that extra second for the Aegis to expire. Killed him at the second. And yet, even though they made that great play, they ultimately still traded 1 for 1, and possibly more, because Laurel's coming in from behind, and Laurel has the catch. So that means Gaimin Gladiators have to turn around and fight. They go for the quick kill on Maposhka. It's not very fast, though. We get to Force Staff and stays alive with a whisk, and a beautiful burrow strike. A stinger on 2 on top of that one. Some decent damage. Not much follow-up to it, though. Team Spirit start backing away a little bit. Collapse. He's in trouble. Pulled back in once again by the Bushwhack. Another 2-man burrow strike out from Laurel. Laurel needs the Sandstorm for the damage. It's finally up with the Bloodstone, but they're walking past it and going for the other kills. Collapse, trying to get away with another Force Staff. Gets him far. Oh, the Hoodwink not quite latching there, but surrounded by Brewling. Collapse will eventually get burned out. An Epicenter going to be put to use. Laurel going to try and chase down Quinn, slowing him down underneath the river. The heals come out from Cellar with the extra soul rip heal. It might just keep him alive. Laurel, he is tanky. He does a lot, but they can't seem to deal enough. Yotaro comes in, claims up the 2. Ace finally gets the kill on Laurel, but now he has to back away as Yotaro and Duraccio actually both carries back into the mix again, so they will both call it quits on this team fight. Duraccio deals with the Tombstone, and they both go their separate ways.
A very even fight, but one that Gaimin are happy with in the end. They got a lot of XP on the Invoker there. Ace living through it all. Able to just wear through them. You were missing the Shivas on the Sand King for some of that extra damage oomph. And without Yotaro in the mix, you're just kind of punching into a brick wall with all the heals coming out from the Undying. Everybody's just staying alive. Quinn was insanely tanky there at the end. That pipe did a lot there for Gaimin, as Tombstone was also running for a lot of that. You get a stolen one at the end, but by then the fight's over.
Yeah, you throw in some like some soul rip heals. He also has mech and holy locker. Remember, there are all these times, these downtimes with Gaimin Gladiators where Celery was just farming up neutrals. So he actually has a fair amount of farm for an Undying on a losing game.
If he can get Greaves here, he's going to be annoying. Tanky hero to go on, and it's a lot of sustain over the course of these fights, which are all going very long. It's going to be Spirit trying to just force the issue with that Shivas on the SK.
Good pick off Tofu. He's been quite the nuisance. They'll get more with the Yules. Both supports of Gaimin Gladiators will die.
And that was another big factor in that previous fight, is you got a lot of the mana burned out of Maposhka at the start. Yeah, you saved the Enchantress, but that EMP did its job. He's a lot of their damage if the Morphling isn't hitting people, so they removed that threat as well, which is something they had working for them.
That's true. That's their 2 single target components, right? Laurel is all the AoE damage, but when it comes to bursting somebody down quickly, it requires either Maposhka or Yotaro.
Gotta start thinking about this next Roshan. Get as much farm on this Invoker as you can. Quinn is really the scale that can come out here for Gaimin in the next 10 minutes or so. Have super high impact in these long fights if he can stay alive.
When does that start coming online? Because he's got BKB now and level 16. So it's a ways away before we get to, you know, like the level 20 talent, which is a decent upgrade. Level 25 is obviously very far away.
I think the level 20 talent is a pretty big one for this hero. I think every level you get is also just big, because if you can get the BKB Hurricane Pike here, all these levels boost up your base damage, and then suddenly you can go in a fight, BKB, start right-clicking down people with these Exort stacks and just spell amping them up.
Yeah.
That's where the real damage comes from on these Chaos Meteor combinations. Quinn will get caught bottom. Does not have that BKB yet.
Laurel goes through the gate with Collapse. And just outside of the range, he can hit him with the Shivas. That slowdown might let him catch up to hit the Yules, but is it too far? Okay, some of the team is still going to be able to be here. The telekinesis, that's what they needed. The extra disable from the 3rd hero of Team Spirit. They get the catch on Quinn.
Man, the catch range for a Blinkless Sand King has been very nice this game.
Yeah. I mean, Yules plus Phase Boots,
it's the Phase.
Naturally very fast.
His Phase Boots has really paid off this game. Gives you a lot of extra damage on the Stinger to clear waves. He just found 2.
Where did he just find this one? Just walked up to this high ground and found another 2 from Gaimin Gladiators. They just got that rundown on Quinn. How did they manage to find this one? Either way, it works for them, as Brewmaster Ultimate had to be used, so that's effectively just as good as getting the Brewmaster kill.
Just collapsed the whole map here in the last 30 seconds. And it's going to be high ground again. You're missing 3 heroes now.
Yeah, I mean, from the dropped bottle earlier that they gave to Yotaro to allow him to pick up an amp damage. This could just be looking at Megas here, as Gaimin Gladiators are going to have to hold out.
You have to fight into the Sandstorm now. You don't even have the Brewmaster. Another two-man stun.
He just keeps on finding him, man. Two-man burrow just very casually on 2 cores. Got the BKB out of Quinn.
Stolen EMP, also very nice here. You just have to commit to the fight. There's no way around it.
They're going to have to play for the top
Megas.
lane. They do not want to take the team fight without the splits, and I'm curious if Team Spirit...
I'm actually surprised they're back.
So.
I don't think there was a clear way into that fight without the Brewmaster ulti.
I don't think so either, but at the same time, might as well keep it safe and go for Roche.
Yeah, they're not too worried about the next 10 minutes here. You're getting a lot of farm on the supports. This Morphlene's only going to get stronger. No need to rush it too much. So we'll give time for Ace. He finishes up his Shivas, so this is as strong as he gets outside of that level 20 talent, which he's racing the Sand King towards. This is definitely stronger. But man, Vlad's on the Enchantress, Lotus Orb on the Rubik, these big utility items coming in. Really going to power up the Morphling here. There's a lot for Yatoro to play around, and an Aegis is going to give him an unlimited amount of freedom here. No snipe off the Sunstrike.
Okay, Gaimin Gladiators.
Nobody wants to cheese, huh?
You've got less than a minute to put together what you're going to do for this incoming push from Team Spirit. They've got an Aegis. I don't really think they need to deal with lanes too much. Feels like everything's lining up for them to just go for it now.
I mean, it's just a 5-on-5, defend your high ground. There's no pressure on the map. There's nothing you can really do here if you're gaming, but just take the fight straight up. Your best bet is probably to smoke and flank the backside, look for supports. It's not really happening right now, though. They just want to take it straight up.
Yeah, and that means you might win this fight, but still be up against Megas at the end of it. As Yatoro takes another building, a Bushwhack landing on 2, not bad. Force Staff clears Laurel of that disable, though. And they go for the Brewmaster. Deafening Blast stops a lot of the damage, giving him some chance to get off his ultimate. Got burned out of a lot of mana, but still has a chance. He can pop his ult. He's holding on to it now. He doesn't want to pop it prematurely here and just have Team Spirit reset around it. But if they don't go for aggressive action soon, Megas will be coming to fruition. Another Bushwhack lands onto the Morphling, another Force Staff, frees him, but they do manage to burst him down. That's going to be the Aegis. The Brewmaster ultimate going out now, but they have to get clear of this Sandstorm. A fresh life onto Yatoro. Gonna deal with the Tombstone first. Now the melee barracks. Horacio tries to approach, almost immediately gets pushed down to half. Caught by the telekinesis, just dead. No buyback available. Nothing the Chaos Knight can do, nor can Quinn. A 2-man burrow strike to clean things out, and that's just it. Team Spirit strike back just as hard in game 2.